Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Let's get back to Iraq. What this man is doing right here is not a good move, in my opinion. Iraq is sitting on the brink of all-out civil war. Tensions are rising. Protesters are gathering. There has been assassination attempts. There has been terrorist attacks. If you're sitting there holding on to the dinar, hoping that the rate change is going to happen this year, it's not going to happen. I said it's going to take at least 2 years, and that is if they magically got their government formed, passed the budget, and continued expanding on the private and public sectors, as well as developing their agriculture. But instead of getting all that good stuff, and Iraq taking advantage of the abundance of money that's coming in from oil sales, no. Instead, we have a stalemate. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, right now is the time to do so. Prices have been really stagnant. This is the time to accumulate as much as possible. When you go to buy your gold and silver, please give a consideration to our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. Alrighty, let's go here. Look at this. Sadr bloc deputies put their parliamentary resignation at the Sadr's disposal. Yeah, this isn't good. Sadr had all the deputies write their letters of resignation just in case. Said here on Thursday, the Sadr's bloc representatives put their resignations from the Iraqi parliament at the disposal of the movement's leader, Sadr. Earlier today, the leader of the Sadr's movement directed members of his parliamentary bloc to write their resignation in preparation for submitting them to the parliamentary presidency. Sadr said in a televised speech today, if the survival of the Sadr's bloc is an obstacle to forming a government, all the bloc's deputies are ready to resign. Sadr renewed his refusal to form the next Iraqi government in the principle of the consensus and said, these are the two options, either the opposition or the withdrawal, and in general, Iraq does not need an absolute government, but rather an absolute government with a majority that serves its people and restores its prestige. Now, it's no hidden secret that Sadr does not want the coordinating framework to be any part of the government, especially Maliki. These people have been corrupt for a long time, and they have been screwing over the Iraqi people. He does not want a consensus government. He wants a majority government. So although I do think Sadr is a man of the people, and he's making a move to do so, I do not believe this is a good move. If Sadr and all his deputies resign, this turns over total power to Maliki. That means in the future, they're going to be passing laws, making it harder for you to get rid of them. We see that here in the United States. So it's better for Sadr to stick it out. He won the majority seats. There should be something done in Parliament in which says, look, whenever you come to a stalemate like this, Sadr's people still hold the most seats. Therefore, they should have the say-so. That's just my opinion. But Sadr, anyways, is preparing his people to resign. He's claiming his purpose of doing this is so that the people can have a government. But he knows dang well that that's the wrong government. Amari heads a special delegation from the coordinating framework to visit Urbel on Friday. Yeah, there was a terrorist attack, a bombing. Somebody had booby-trapped the drone. Some people got hurt and some property was damaged. And this was done in Urbel. So there are people out there who are trying to split the alliance between Sadr and Halabasi as well as Talabani. It said here, a source in the coordinating framework stated on Tuesday evening that the delegation headed by the leader of the Al-Fatah alliance, Amari, will visit Urbel, the capital of Kurdistan region, tomorrow. They are getting ready for their own elections that's about to take place here in October. It said a source told the news that the framework delegation, led by Amari, will hold dialogues with the Kurdistan Democratic Party and other Kurdish forces regarding the political blockage and the process of forming a new government. So what I think you're going to see here is this election that's coming up in October. If Sadr's people that he has alliance with can somehow, some way win more seats, I'm wondering if that will then tilt in favor of Sadr and allow him to get the right number of deputies in parliament in order for them to go ahead and form the new government. Now, that's all the way coming up in this October. It's been 8 months since the last election. It says this visit comes in the wake of the threat of the leader of the Sadr's movement, Sadr, to remain in opposition or completely withdraw from the political process unless a national majority government is formed, especially after he directed earlier today members of his parliament bloc to write their resignation in preparation for submitting them to the parliamentary president. As a result, the Sovereignty Alliance held a consultative meeting in communication with the Kurdistan Democratic Party to discuss Sadr's recent speech, which includes several options for his parliamentary bloc affiliated with the tripartite Save the Homeland Coalition, according to the source of the coalition who informed the agency. A member of the Kurdistan Democratic Party suggests that there would be a move by Barzani and Kanjar to discuss with Sadr about what he proposed, especially since the Democratic and Sovereignty have previously confirmed more than once and with official statements that they will be with Sadr in all cases. This would be interesting to see what happens. American pessimism about Iraq, personal revenge, and a question of existence between Shiite forces closed the doors. Said the Associated Press agency has raised what it described as a dangerous stalemate in the post-election phase, as the country has been without a new government for 8 months, and there is no clear way out of the impasse while the political forces are engaged in intense competition for the power despite the challenges, the growing situation facing Iraq. Again, Sadr's people won the most block. The coordinating framework lost a third of the seats. That tells you right there who the people want. I don't understand how come there's not something written in their laws, despite the fact that a third of these people refused to go and create a quorum so a new government can be formed. Even so, Sadr's people have the most blocks. Somehow they should be able to just move forward. Now, it wouldn't be so bad because Al-Qadimi's still in there and so is Saleh, but the Supreme Court has really limited their powers, making it really hard for them to run the government. And again, this person that's in the Supreme Court is allies with the coordinating framework. And after he drew the American reports, which is translated to the news, nothing that among the growing crisis facing Iraqis, the impending food crisis caused by severe drought, and the war in Ukraine, he considered for ordinary Iraqi citizens, everything is always delayed, noting, for example, that the caretaker government is not able to make payments, vital electricity, or plans to invest in the sector with the advent of the summer months. Investments related to water infrastructure has been disrupted, and water shortages and concerns about the food securities have fueled anger amongst Iraqis. You can see how this government not being formed is seriously starting to affect all the Iraqi people. While the report refers to the October 10th elections, which were in response to popular demonstration protesting against corruption, poor services, and unemployment, it is stated that the election results achieved the victory for Sadr and dealt a blow to his Iranian-backed opponents who lost about a third of their seats. But what good did it do? They still have the power to shut the government down. And sure, Sadr won the most seats, but what has it accomplished? Nothing. It's accomplished nothing. The report also referred to what is called a personal revenge between the Shiite forces at the time when Sadr and his alliance stood on one front, in contrast to a coordinated framework consisting of the Shiite forces and personalities backed by Iran and other allies, while independent deputies were concentrated in the middle. they suffer from division as well in light of the attempts by the competing forces in order to win them over to any party. Yeah, in this article, it talks about some of the independents are being offered tens of thousands of dollars to join the coordinating framework. The report stated that the anger of the Iraqi citizens is increasing in light of the rise in food prices and the deterioration of a phenomenon of interruptions in the electrical service. Recalling that incident that Al-Qademi was forced to lead the funeral of a poet recently due to anti-government chants, and also recalling that the United Nations representatives in Iraq, Ms. Blashart, said recently heading to Iraq's political leaders that the streets are on the verge of boiling. Yeah, they're getting there. I don't blame them. Nothing is getting accomplished. So which one of these groups do you think is going to be able to amass the most people in favor of them? Do you think Sadr's people will get more people than the Iraq-backed politicians? Remember, they took to the streets in the first place, protesting against corruption and protesting against those very politicians. So if the people rise to the street and all hell breaks loose, you could bet that these people are going to be in favor of Sadr, not the coordinated framework, where the coordinated framework is going to have maybe the upper hand. You're going to get a lot of military people in their own militia group coming from Iran to try to sway favor on behalf of the coordinating framework. This could be a disaster because this kind of thing could go on for months, if not years, a civil war. Look what's going on in Yemen. Look what's going on in Lebanon. While the report refers to the long-standing rivalry between Sadr and the former Prime Minister Maliki and between Sadr and Qais al-Ghazari, it pointed out existence of a paradox in which the current impasses partial result in parties' distance from sectarian groups, explaining in the past it was the Shiite alliance that formed a united front in order to go to the negotiation with the Sunnis and the Kurdish blocs. But this time the alliance that transcended sectarian lines, which has fueled tensions within the sect. So, in the absence of an agreement between the forces, the report pointed out fears of violent demonstrations and armed confrontations, recalling a speech by Sadr on May the 16th, in which he vowed not to conclude a deal with his rivals, alluding to the capabilities of the Salam militia, which recently opened the doors to recruits joining the Dala and Balbo governance. The report added that the militia leaders spoke in their own sessions about fears that the stalemate would ignite demonstrations in the streets, adding that the Iraq had previously witnessed long political struggles between competing forces regarding the presidency of the republic and the government, but the current competition is considered the longest so far. So you can see here, it said also the report, quoting independents who refused to reveal their identities in fear of their safety, said that some of the independents indicated that they were exposed to threats and that they feared for their lives, and that one of them indicated that he had received offers of tens of thousands of dollars in bribes to join the anti-Sadr bloc. So we'll see. Something has to be done. This stalemate can't go on forever. 8 months later, and they still haven't gotten the government, and it's starting to affect the economy. It's starting to affect the Iraqi people, and this is not what you want. Look, Sadr's people got the most seats, in my opinion. He should be able to get what he wants. I understand that the way the government is structured, you have to have 2/3 or more in order to have a quorum, but there has to be some type of outline of there, some type of exception that when you come to a stalemate like this, then it is the person that has the most seats. That's how it should be. It says right here, the presidency of the region announces the results of the meetings of the Kurdish parties in the presence of Ms. Blashart, who's getting ready for the elections that happen in October for the Kurdistan people. They just want to make sure that, again, everything is prepared, they are ready, and see if they can get some type of agreements going between the parties so that they don't run into the same issue that they're having over there in Baghdad. So there you have it. It's starting to get a lot more serious. There is a stalemate. Nothing has been resolved. But what I don't like is the fact that Sadr has gathered the resignation of all his political party members and is threatening to quit politics altogether. If that's the case, then he's definitely handing over Iraq on a silver platter to the coordinating framework and Iran altogether, which is not good. Anyways, that's it for now, you guys. Hopefully things will change for the better. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.